The Wagner Group was founded in 2014 by former GRU officer Dmitry Utkin and businessman Yevgeny Prigozhin. It emerged around 2014 during the Ukraine-Russia conflict on the Crimean Peninsula. The group is described as a private military company, a network of mercenaries, or a de facto private army of Russian President Vladimir Putin. The group has been involved in conflicts in the Middle East and Africa, including the Syrian civil war. The Wagner Group has been fighting alongside the regular Russian army in Ukraine. It's estimated that tens of thousands of Wagner troops took part. The group has been a key piece of Russia's strategy in Ukraine, with Wagner forces being used to hold cities like Bakhmut. The Wagner Group has been accused of committing human rights abuses in the Central African Republic, the Middle East, Africa, and Ukraine. Although mercenary forces are illegal in Russia, the Wagner Group registered as a company in 2022 and opened a new headquarters in St. Petersburg. In May 2022, 2 Wagner Group fighters from Belarus were accused of murdering civilians near Kyiv. Recently, the Wagner Group has been involved in a rebellion against the Russian government. The group has demanded the removal of the nation's defense minister and staged a march on Moscow. However, the head of the Wagner mercenary group said his forces were ending a march on the Russian capital Moscow that included demands for the resignation of the country's top defense officials over alleged failures in the war in Ukraine. Wagner Group has been fighting in the eastern Ukrainian city of Bakhmut. They have been using repeated assaults composed of former convicts to gradually gain ground, and by February 2023, they captured territory in the north and south of Bakhmut, forcing Ukrainian forces to slowly pull out of the city, and the battle turned into fierce urban warfare. Wagner continues to hold significant stockpiles of ammunition and maintains control of at least 85% of Bakhmut. The head of Russia's Wagner mercenary group said his forces controlled more than 80% of the devastated eastern Ukrainian city of Bakhmut after some of war's heaviest and bloodiest fighting. However, it is said that there is a dark secret behind the success of Wagner Group. There have been stories about the soldiers in Wagner Group. It is said that the founding soldiers of the Wagner Group are actually genetically modified enhanced human beings. There also have been stories about their modification and their acts since they came into existence. In the depths of a hidden underground facility, concealed beneath the vast Russian wilderness, a sinister experiment unfolded. The Wagner Group, a private military contractor known for its involvement in covert operations, was not just an ordinary group of soldiers. Unknown to the world, they were a select few who had been subjected to a series of undercover experiments conducted by the Russian government. Led by Dmitry Utkin, the Russian government sought to create a force of unstoppable, mutated soldiers to carry out their most dangerous and morally questionable missions. The soldiers of the Wagner Group were chosen from prisoners and inmates, individuals who had little hope of freedom. Within the walls of the secluded facility, these captives endured agonizing experiments. Their bodies were subjected to brutal genetic modifications, cybernetic enhancements, and chemical alterations. The process pushed the boundaries of pain and suffering, and many perished under the excruciating strain. Yet, those who survived emerged as something more than human. Their bodies were transformed, their physical capabilities pushed to extraordinary limits. Their strength surpassed that of the average person, their speed and endurance unparalleled. They became immune to hunger, no longer requiring sustenance to survive. Sleep became unnecessary, as their bodies and minds adapted to function continuously. Their emotions and capacity for pain were numbed, leaving them devoid of empathy or remorse. Dmitry Utkin had succeeded in creating the perfect army of mutated soldiers. The Wagner Group, now transformed into a lethal force, became the embodiment of destruction and control. Dmitry Utkin reveled in his achievement, imagining a world where these enhanced soldiers would establish Russian dominance and crush any opposition. He saw them as the ultimate weapon, capable of reshaping the global order to Russia's advantage. With their new abilities, the soldiers of the Wagner Group were deployed to carry out covert operations around the world. From the depths of the Syrian war to the chaos of the Central African Republic, they executed their missions with cold precision. Their enhanced strength and endurance made them formidable challengers, and they eliminated targets without question or hesitation. The Wagner Group soldiers remained steadfast in their loyalty to the Russian government. The experimentation had stripped them of their individuality and free will, leaving them as obedient instruments of destruction. They were but cogs in the vast machinery of power, unable to question their orders or strive for personal freedom. And so, as the world watched in disbelief, the story of the Wagner Group and their mutated soldiers unfolded. The consequences of their existence reverberated across the globe, leaving humanity to grapple with the terrifying reality of a force they could not comprehend or overcome. In the wild theater of war, the Wagner Group's mutated soldiers stood as an unwavering force, unwavering in their loyalty to the Russian government. Their enhanced abilities made them formidable assets, and they were strategically deployed to various conflict zones. In Syria, the Wagner Group soldiers fought alongside pro-government forces, their presence reinforcing the regime's efforts to maintain control. With their unmatched strength and resilience, they became a fearsome warning against opposition forces. Their primary objectives included safeguarding strategic locations and resources, such as vital oil fields, ensuring the government's grip on power remained unchallenged. In Libya, the soldiers were dispatched to support the forces loyal to General Khalifa Haftar. Their unyielding commitment to their mission made them instrumental in reinforcing Haftar's bid for control over the war-torn country. Whether engaging in direct combat or providing crucial security, their presence tipped the scales in favor of Haftar's forces, solidifying his position and threatening the stability of the region. Far from the public eye, the soldiers were also deployed to the Central African Republic, CAR, where they were tasked with guarding valuable diamond mines. The Russian government sought to protect its economic interests and gain an advantageous foothold in the region. With the enhanced soldiers' unrelenting vigilance, attempts to encroach upon the mine were met with swift and devastating consequences. Their exploits became the stuff of legends, whispered in hushed tones among military circles and feared by their adversaries. The world grappled with the realization that the Russian government possessed an unparalleled force capable of reshaping the balance of power. While the Wagner Group soldiers executed their duties with ruthless efficiency, their existence remained shrouded in secrecy. The Russian government carefully controlled the dissemination of information, ensuring the true extent of their capabilities remained unknown to the wider world. Their covert operations continued relentless, their actions hidden within the fog of war. There have also been some information about how the Wagner Group conduct their operations. In the war-torn land of Syria, the Wagner Group's mutated soldiers unleashed a reign of terror that sent shivers down the spines of all who bore witness. The Russian government's prized instruments of destruction roamed the scarred landscapes, their enhanced abilities pushing the boundaries of horror. Their mission was twofold: to fight alongside pro-government forces and guard the vital oil fields that fueled the regime's power. But their actions went far beyond conventional warfare, investigating into the realms of sadism and cruelty. The soldiers reveled in their newfound strength and immunity to pain, relishing in the suffering they inflicted upon their enemies. As night fell over a war-ravaged village, the Wagner Group soldiers conducted a ruthless raid, targeting a stronghold of opposition forces. Their arrival was swift and relentless. The soldiers moved with uncanny speed, their bodies a blur of violence and brutality. With each strike, bones shattered and flesh tore, leaving a trail of mangled bodies in their wake. The enhanced soldiers derived sadistic pleasure from the pain they inflicted, taunting their helpless prey with chilling laughter and mocking words. Their minds, numbed to empathy and compassion, reveled in the darkest recesses of human cruelty. Within the village, terror reigned supreme. Civilians cowered in fear, their cries drowned out by the discord of gunfire and agonized screams. The Wagner Group soldiers showed no mercy, hunting down anyone who dared to defy them. As the night wore on, the Wagner Group soldiers secured their dominance over the village. The once bustling community lay in ruins. The oil fields, stained with blood, stood as a haunting reminder of the depths humanity could sink to when power and depravity intertwined. Yet, within the Russian government's halls of power, the actions of the Wagner Group soldiers were regarded as a testament to their effectiveness. Their ruthlessness was applauded, their loyalty celebrated. The soldiers had become an embodiment of the government's darkest desires, carrying out their most depraved missions. In the aftermath of Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, the city of Bakhmut stood as a formidable stronghold, seemingly impervious to the Ukrainian army's attempts to capture it. Frustrated by the stalemate, the Russian government devised a sinister plan to deploy the Wagner Group to conquer the city. As they prepared for the mission, their minds were numbed to the concepts of morality and human compassion. Under the command of General Prigozhin, a brilliant but remorseless strategist, the Wagner Group meticulously planned their assault on Bakhmut. They exploited their inhuman abilities, combining them with their inherent ruthlessness to devastating effect. The Wagner Group infiltrated Bakhmut under the cover of darkness. Their enhanced strength allowed them to scale walls and breach fortified positions with ease. The soldiers moved like predatory beasts, their agility and speed unmatched by any mortal adversary. In the heart of battle, the Wagner Group's mutated nature proved to be their deadliest weapon. Their senses were heightened to a supernatural level, enabling them to detect even the slightest movements of their enemies. They fought with a ferocity and precision that surpassed human capability, tearing through the Ukrainian army's defenses with chilling efficiency. The soldiers' immunity to pain further fueled their relentless onslaught. Wounds that would cripple an ordinary soldier only served to amplify the Wagner Group's fury. Their lack of empathy and emotion enabled them to push forward without hesitation, mowing down anyone who dared to stand in their way. Bakhmut became a living nightmare. The city streets ran red with blood, echoing with the agonized screams of the Ukrainian soldiers. The Wagner Group reveled in the chaos, their surreal mutations giving them an insatiable hunger for carnage. Buildings crumbled, and the very spirit of the city seemed to wither under the weight of their inhumane presence. With each passing day, the Wagner Group's grip on Bakhmut tightened. They strategically targeted key infrastructure, severing the city's connections to the outside world. The mutated soldiers systematically eliminated pockets of resistance, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. Their conquest of Bakhmut demonstrated the true horror of the Wagner Group's mutated nature. Their enhanced abilities and complete disregard for human life enabled them to overpower the Ukrainian army, reducing their opponents to mere playthings in their sadistic game of war. As news of the Wagner Group's capture of Bakhmut spread, the world recoiled in horror. The international community was confronted with the chilling realization that such monstrous forces existed, capable of inflicting unimaginable suffering. The conquest of Bakhmut served as a chilling reminder of the depths humanity could sink to when confronted with unchecked power and the absence of morality. But now the whole of the Wagner Group has gone rogue against the Russian government and military. Will they be able to throw over Vladimir Putin's regime?